Yo, yo, yo! What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Max&JuanCast. We finally back. I wish I could play that song, Max. Reunited and it feels so good.
Damn, that shit was. I thought that shit was playing right there. That was so good. What up, man? We actually back. One saying we, and it's just him on the pod. Whatever. I'm down. Thanks for the invite. Let's go, bro. I'm happy to be back, man. Thanks for holding down the fort. You low key always holding it down, dog. I'm waiting for you to take your vacay.
Oh man, look, I'm excited to be back. I'm excited that you're back, Max. We're gonna be doing some. I want to call it like so many things. It's like an NFL yearbook / grade /
final
preview.
Report card.
Yeah,
preview.
it's a bunch of shit, bro. We're just gonna be talking fucking teams going into the off season, point blank. Like that's it, and then grading them off last season. What was their expectations, and did they meet it? Because that's all really what the NFL is. Like the Dolphins, they failed. Like they were supposed to be good, they sucked, so their grade's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
even
you
for
said
like
it right.
the Chiefs, they went what 12-5.
12-5.
12-5. Their grade's probably not going to be that good because one, they didn't even make it to the Super Bowl. Their expectations very high. Now the Raiders, on the other hand, they might get A+. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you keep bringing up all these AFC West teams. I think if you want to just dive into it right now.
I mean, let's get it, bro. But before, hold on.
Ooh, I almost did it. I was like, I think this is when Juan likes to do it. I almost took it from you, but go ahead.
Almost, bro. But if you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man. It really helps us out. And if you guys aren't new to the channel, hit that like button, bro. What you doing? Spam that shit up. It helps us out so much. Audio listeners, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys get your podcasts, go ahead and subscribe to us on there. 5-star rate us. All the shit helps out, bro. It helps out tremendously. Anything else, Max? Did I miss anything?
We have the best audio listeners, as Juan always likes to say. So I'm going to say it this week. You guys rock. Keep on listening. Our numbers are good. Juan, we're at 301 subscribers. How's it feel?
Let's get it. Hey, look, that one subscriber, that 301, go ahead, unsubscribe, then resubscribe, dog. You already know how we do it. Matter of fact, everyone do that. Fuck it, all right? Mess up the algorithm. Let us go from 0 subscribers all the way back to 300 within like a week.
That'd be dope, low key.
Hey, don't be an asshole though and forget to resubscribe.
Yeah, no, you got to do it real quick. This is a real quick one.
Don't be a bucket and like just stay unsubscribed. Like, come on now. That's enough of that, bro. Let's get into the AFC West. All right. Where you want to start? Let's start with the Broncos. You want to start with the Broncos?
Yeah, let's work our way up.
And I say this not because they sucked, not any reason because of that. I just think they're gonna be one of the most interesting off seasons going into it. So first, let's get them their grade. I'm gonna go with a C. I didn't think they did terrible. I didn't think they did good. They were mediocre. Like they ended up with Teddy Bridgewater. They did like staying above water. Threw in Drew Lock.
Nice.
Nothing different. Like it was a C, bro. I'm giving them a C.
If you don't take in the quarterbacks, does your grade go to like a B? Like if there was no quarterback position in football, are they like a B? Because I'd give them like a C+. I'm gonna go C+. This is a team that's just lacking one big area. Like if you look at their team needs, you're like, yeah, maybe we need an edge rusher, but we really need a quarterback. This team has a lot of talent on it. It's not let's see, who's like the Houston Texans. There's talent all over the place. There's like guys you might not even have heard of who are just really good ballers. They have the young guns. Patrick Surtain, one, who had an amazing rookie year. Probably should have been our quarterback one. We'll get into that later. But quarterback's a big question, man. And we already know what's going to happen, one. We've seen too many reports. Aaron Rodgers linked to Denver. They hired his old offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, once they fired Vic Fangio, who I think they should bring back on to run the defense. I know you can't do it, but you should do it. So,
That's a
I
big
mean,
ego thing right there.
it's just, what do you think, Juan? Are they going to make a move for a quarterback, or are we just full of shit? And maybe
I
we
think
are.
it's full of shit. And you know what? I think it's a terrible thing to do that because the whole Nathaniel Hackett hire for Green Bay. If you don't wind up getting Aaron Rodgers, what the fuck was the point of that?
I
Like,
wouldn't say Green Bay's offense is like, wow, I can't
right.
believe it's so good.
Like you have Aaron Rodgers, that's why it's working. I don't get it. I don't get the all in mentality. If to me, it's Aaron Rodgers or bust for this team. Like if they don't wind up getting him, which I'm predicting right now, I don't think they're gonna get him. As we speak right now, as this podcast is being recorded, I believe Green Bay is already working on a contract with
Well, do you think
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers.
just comes back? I think he's coming back. Not
I
to,
think he
not
I
to.
think
I'm just
he's
saying
coming.
to the NFL, he'll be playing football somewhere.
Yeah, well, I would put all my chips on Green Bay. And maybe a month ago I wouldn't have said that, but I think right now in the time period that we're at, I will bet that Green Bay retains him. Like I have a pretty good feeling about it. And if the Denver Broncos just went all in for that and they don't end up on the other side of that, it's terrible. Like you just wasted a season. I don't think highly of Nathaniel Hackett. Hey, prove me wrong. We always go into these things of, especially on Twitter, already judging the coaches where we haven't even seen them coach, and they wind up doing good. But in my opinion, Green Bay offense wasn't all that with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. And like, is Denver really a quarterback away? Do you truly believe that, Max?
I think they're a quarterback away from competing in the division for a crown. I feel like Derek Carr,
But
Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, or okay, let's just put it like this: Mahomes and Herbert, you could say are in the same class, whatever. Carr is like a B quarterback.
right,
Then they're at like an D/F.
yeah.
Like to me, if you want to like, we can talk about some free agents for them. I feel like you have to focus on quarterbacks. They're not really losing anyone that important. But like, do you go take a swing for the fences, hit Jameis Winston?
I mean, even your boy. Like, what if they wind up getting Carson Wentz?
I'd like that. I mean, I know everyone hates Wentz, and I know there was bad moments last year, but there were some good. And I know he got coached up a little by Frank Wright. But I
Mhm.
just don't get like where you can if you don't get Rodgers, like you said, where do you go? You're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Like you're not taking anyone in the draft. Maybe Jimmy G.
Uh, does he
That
elevate
doesn't
you?
excite me. But
Right.
I'll say Jimmy G's better than Teddy B.
To me, they messed up last year. I know everyone loves Patrick Surtain. He's good. He's a really good cornerback. A lot better than me and Max predicted that he was going to be. But at the end of the day, you had Justin Fields on the board. And a lot of other teams did also. And I just think that's going to haunt them, man, especially if this whole quarterback situation this year doesn't get resolved. Because you got to think, Max, if this year they don't get anyone and let's say they do end up with like Jimmy Garoppolo or Carson
Mitchell
Wentz,
Trubisky, some shit like
yeah,
that.
as a Bronco fan, you got to be fucking so pissed. You're like, so we miss out on Justin Fields and we miss out on Rodgers?
Well,
That's
if I'm a
terrible.
Broncos fan, what I'm thinking, we have a star running back, Javonte Williams, one of Juan's favorite up and coming
Yeah.
guys. We have a good O line. We have skill positions. We have solid. We have good corners, good safeties, good front. It's like, man, we're just wasting the talent of this team just because we can't find one quarterback.
Yeah. It's alarming, dude. Hopefully, I know Bronco fans are gonna hope Aaron Rodgers is a Denver Bronco after this year. But anything else on the Broncos, Max?
I think we hit it all. There's too many eggs in the quarterback basket or the Rodgers basket.
Right. What team you want to move on to next?
Let's hit the Chargers.
Go ahead and start it off because you're a Charger fan.
Look, If I was going to give them a grade, man, I'd go with a B minus. Too many dumb
A
decisions
B
on fourth down.
minus?
What, you think it should be higher or lower?
Lower.
I mean, I look at their team, right? This is just me.
Yeah.
They have a top 5 quarterback in football. They have a decent O-line. They have a great left tackle. They have Eckler. They have Mike Williams, whatever. Although they have a lot of like stars, but they don't have like a lot of just solid. Like they have a lot of flash. They don't have a lot of substance. That's why any team who wants to run the ball on them all day can. That's why Brandon Staley has to go for it on fourth down because they're in shitty positions, even though he shouldn't go for it sometimes. You don't always have to fucking go for it. You can just punt the ball and play defense. So I would give them a B minus. Like I was a little underwhelmed, but they still saw really good signs of a team that I just don't think's there yet. And going into the offseason one, they have the 3rd most cap in the league. You saw what the Bengals did with the quarterback on a rookie deal. Time to go for it. They kind of went for it. They got Corey Linsley, but now it's time to really go for it.
To me, I'm gonna give them a D plus.
You're a harsh grader one.
I mean, look, I just think the expectations for this team, it's a lot higher than other people give them credit for. Like, how many games did Justin Herbert win last year with Anthony Lynn? What, like 7 games, I believe? 6, 7 games?
7. Well, I mean, it's 2-game improvement, and they're in a tough division. I mean, the Raiders are a playoff team. Raiders are a fucking playoff team.
You can't beat the dysfunctional Raiders?
Hey, y'all got something there, I think. Now you're talking shit about your team when it suits you.
Now we got something there. Look, I'm giving them a D plus. I think they have one of the most talented rosters. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they didn't get it done this year. It was about making the playoffs. Point blank. Period. They did not do that,
bro. They basically had a playing game.
Yeah, but you lost it,
dude.
I
understand that. I understand that, but you say they have star power. But other than the stars, it's just not a lot. It's like, hey, we're real top heavy. There ain't no fucking substance here. There's no guy in the middle. You're like, wow, we got Bosa. Then who else you got? Nobody really. You got Nwansu, who's okay.
And Nwansu was pretty good.
I like him, yeah.
This season. But to me, Brandon Staley's on the hot seat.
Oh, 100% agree. Just the way he coached was like you know, some coaches coach one. Like I feel like Matt LaFleur doesn't really. He never does anything to lose them the game. Brandon Staley's like, I'm gonna win us the game or lose us the game. It wasn't like I'm just gonna let this game play out. Like he always had a big imprint on the game with his decision making.
And we kind of did it for the Broncos in a different way because obviously a guy to get was Aaron Rodgers. But I want to ask you with the Chargers, and I kind of want to do this with almost every team we talk about before we move on. Pick one free agent or trade asset that you would want the Chargers to make this year.
I would go after Sebastian Joseph Day if I was the Chargers.
I like that.
The nose tackle from the Rams.
What's the reason why?
One, how soft are they on against the run?
Soft as Charmin, 32 against the run.
Okay.
Terrible.
Does he help alleviate that problem? It's just like when the Giants signed Snacks Harrison, Brandon Staley knows Sebastian Joseph Day. They need fucking big people. They have nobody big. They're like, oh, we got Jerry Tillery who's 290. It's like, no, you need someone who's big, who can take up double teams, who can slow down the run. Him, Akeem Hicks I had, who's just like a shittier version of him right now. I still like Akeem Hicks, but he's just a little long in the tooth. You got to do something about the defensive line and just about how big they are. Like, you can't always be a speed team one. You have to have some type of like big hulking guy.
Right. To me, I think a big upgrade for them would be getting a guy like Stefan Gilmore at corner.
They have good corners, just not anyone you're like, wow.
They do. They have a young corner in Asante Samuel, but I just think Stefan Gilmore, very similar to a guy like Jalen Ramsey. I know Gilmore's long in the tooth. He's 31 years old, but Brandon Staley had that Jalen Ramsey piece when he was coaching up the Rams. I think you gave him a lockdown corner, it's going to elevate that defense. Like, the pass rushers will get better because they got pass rushers. They got Joey Bosa. Me and Max were just talking about it. Max is a little bit lower on Joey Bosa. He's not saying that he's bad. He just wants more out of him. I think he's still elite. He's an elite dude. They got one of the best safeties in the league in Derwin James, if not the
If
best.
he can stay healthy, which is we both want him to, as much as you hate
Yeah,
the
which he
Chargers.
did this year. He
He
did
did. He
this
did.
year.
So on real quick, they have Mike Williams leaving. Do you think they need to keep him at all cost?
I wouldn't. I think he's gonna cost way too
I
much
would
money.
definitely keep him for the right price. There's no need to give him $20 million a year.
Yeah, and I don't think they're gonna keep him for the right price. Receivers grow on trees. Second of all, you have Herbert. Herbert's gonna elevate your talent. Go into the draft a receiver, if anything.
Especially one with speed. They need some type of speed on this team
They
on
got
offense.
Guyton, but yeah, someone a little bit like in the little bit younger and more talented. I feel you.
Yeah, and lastly, one before we move on, would you keep? I don't know how to say his name good. And Chena and Wansu, the guy from USC, the edge. I would
USC,
keep
the
him at all
linebacker.
costs. I
I
think
would
he's
keep him.
super good. Yeah, I think he's really talented.
That's I think that's one of the free agents that a lot of people don't look at and can end up in Arizona or
Ooh,
Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like one of
who could
those.
just make an impact? Yeah.
Right, right. So I would keep him. Let's move on to the Chiefs. We'll do the Raiders
Yeah, of
last. Best for
course.
last,
Wow,
baby.
who would have bet that? Everybody.
All right, Chiefs. Like we said, they went 12-5. Off bat max, I'm gonna give them their grade. I'm gonna give them a B plus. Look, it was tough the way that they started off the year. Started off very slow. Everyone thought that the Chiefs were dead. Mid-season, near the end point, they caught fire. But they lost the way that they lost in the AFC Championship. It's hard to erase that from
It
my
was
memory.
very indicative of their season one, how they lost in that game. It was we're
Yeah,
on fire and now we're colder than Antarctica. It was like
yeah,
we can't move the ball, we can't stop a nosebleed. And I feel like that was in the whole season one. It was like even when they were on fire, right? It wasn't like their offense was scoring 40 points a game. It was like, wow, we blew a team out 14-0 and our
right.
defense made some plays. And
Yeah,
like I'm a little lower on Patrick. I'm not low on Patrick Mahomes, but going into this year, there's a lot more questions surrounding him than last year. Last year was about everything around him, and now it's like, what's kind of up with him? I feel like
yeah. Look, it's crazy to think about Max on this might be the turning point for the Chiefs. And if you would have asked me last year, or let's just say after he won that Super Bowl, the first one against the Niners, how many Super Bowls do you think Patrick Mahomes will have after that one? You say at least what, two more? At
if
least?
if Aaron Rodgers didn't exist, one I would say that, but we
Fuck.
all did that with him.
Yeah.
And look, he never even got back, and we don't know
Never
he'll ever
even
get
got back.
back. And I
And
get Mahomes is amazing, right? And we think,
yeah.
oh, he's the type of guy who can will his team. Well, I mean, he's got another guy who's amazing in his conference, Josh Allen. There's Joe
Yeah.
Burrow. It ain't no
In his own
cakewalk.
division, Justin
Yeah,
Herbert.
yeah. And Derek Carr, not really, but throw him in there for
Fuck
respect.
you.
Okay.
But
So okay, what does this team need to do? Want to keep being a contender? They have two key free agents, Tyrann Mathieu, who's the soul of their defense, and they have a guy they traded a
yeah,
first round pick in, Orlando Brown Jr.
that's
Look, you
big.
can't trade a first round pick and then not keep the guy.
Yeah,
That's just
you
idiotic.
gotta keep Orlando Brown. I think Tyrann Matthews probably gonna walk. I think a team will wind up paying Tyrann Matthew a lot of money. And I don't think the Chiefs are going to wind up paying him. But you got to keep Orlando Brown. That's a must. Even if you got to franchise tag him, you franchise tag him.
And the Chiefs, they don't have a lot of cap space, but as we've seen so many times before, the Saints were what $80 million below last year. And yeah, they had to lose a guy. They lost Trey Hendrickson, but they got under the cap. So if the Chiefs are, let's just say 11 million over the cap, they can always get some more cap space. They'll restructure some shit. Every team will. But it's not like they can go out and get five guys like the Chargers could. So
Right.
they're not going to be huge players, but maybe they can add a couple depth guys. One, they still need a second receiver. You want to bring
Yeah,
Sammy
and
Watkins back for the fucking get the gang back together?
hey, I don't know about that. I don't know how much Sammy has left in the tank.
I don't
I,
think he has a lot because I don't think it's
yeah.
McCall Hardman one. I don't think he's the answer at
Yeah,
second receiver.
he's not the answer. I think if anyone would have showed it last year, they would have came out. And no one like you're just waiting for someone to take on that second role. No one wanted to grasp it, bro. Whether it was Pringle or Hardman. Nobody.
Not even
I'll give you
Demarcus
a guy.
Robinson showed
I'll
up.
give you I'll give you I'll give you my guy that I'm thinking of for the Chiefs for them to sign. I'm not sure if he's going to wind up making it out there, but I would hope so. David Njoku. How much would you love
Wow.
Njoku on the Chiefs? Kind of like an
I
upgraded
just feel like
version.
it would kind of. So you just split them out wide all the time, or you run two more wide, two tight end
No,
sets.
I think Andy Reid used to do it back in the day with the tall guy that they have. I'm forgetting his name right now. The
Oh,
tight end.
Demetrius Harris.
Yes, Demetrius Harris. I just feel like
You have a love affair with that guy ever since you went to Kansas City, and the fans were
I
like,
mean
"Oh,
they
we
love
love this
him.
fucking guy."
I mean, did he not score touchdowns for them constantly though?
I mean, I'm not paying this guy $12 million a year to be okay though. That's what I don't understand. Like,
I get you. I get you. I mean,
what if they took a flyer one on Will Fuller? What if they're like, "We'll fucking give you like $5 million this year. You've been hurt. You wouldn't
to
like
me,
that?"
no.
Allen Robinson.
I
What if Allen Robinson's like, "I'll take a
That'd be
discount because
great.
I've never played with a fucking good quarterback in 10 years in the NFL, and I really
Yeah.
just I'll pay you to come to Kansas City." What if Allen Robinson did that?
No, that would be amazing. Because I was just gonna say they need a guy in between. They need an in between guy.
But like a guy like
Kelsey,
Juju, him and Jackson
yeah.
Mahomes can make fucking TikToks and just make bank off that.
Oh my gosh! Now that you mention that, no, like,
just for the culture, we
oh
need that to
god,
happen.
no. Culture. Oh man, but I think that's it for the Chiefs, man. One thing that it's interesting to look at just before we move on. Eric Bieniemy only signed a 1-year deal with them. They re-signed Matt Nagy. I don't know what the hell he is.
Some
He's probably
weird
some
stuff going
bullshit
on with
title.
those two guys. I feel like, especially
It
with the
really
enemy.
It really is. And, it's very concerning to look at when your quarterback has a problem with taking layups, essentially. Like, to me, they need to find a way to check Patrick Mahomes and be like, bro, like, I know you don't like taking these freaking checkdowns, but like, we can't hit a home run every single time.
Yeah, there's
Like,
nothing wrong with hitting a single one. And like, okay, I just thought of this real quick. I'm sorry, I know we have to move on.
no, go on.
What's the percentage you'd say if this team just falling off the rails this year?
I think it's high. I think it's more than 50%.
I would say last year after the Super Bowl, I would say it was 20, and now it's like 40 for me.
It's
I
close to
mean,
60% for me. I think it's about like 55%.
like I just don't think they're the team like the Colts from like the 2000s. You'd be like, okay, they're good for like 13 wins a year,
Yeah.
first seed.
Especially if they lose Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, that's huge, man.
I mean, they could even lose Orlando Brown one. They really could. I mean, I doubt it just because that'd be idiotic. But we saw the Seahawks let Jadeveon Clowney go after trading a second for him.
Right. And the only hope is like, they got Patrick Mahomes. He's good for 10 wins. Yeah.
They really do, but he could get hurt. He's been banged up the
Yeah.
last two.
Yeah. A
And
lot
I
of
think
stuff.
that wraps up the AFC West. There's no other team to talk about.
No, sir. We're talking about another playoff team, baby. Las Vegas
One and
Raiders.
done.
You're an asshole. I hate you. Okay, based off expectations,
Can I
they
get my
met
grade
one.
first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off because I just knew you were going to blow your load way too early, and I wanted to blow for you. I would give the Raiders an A+ for their fucking season. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. I didn't think they'd be that good when the season started. Let me put it like this: if they went 10-7 and Gruden and nothing happened off the field, I'd give them an A-.
Yeah.
They went through some of the worst offseason drama I've ever seen a team go through. And it wasn't like, oh, the coach is hated in the locker room. It was like, no, they found an email. He's getting fired in 2 days. Henry Ruggs is going to go out drinking one night, ruin his whole life. And then Damon Arnett, a first-round pick, who wasn't even that good, though, just was a huge distraction. And it never slowed them down. We wrote them off dead every time they lost for like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And they just fought. And I'm kind of sad
They
Rich
got
Bisaccia is not coming back. But tip your hat to them.
They literally got their souls snatched in Kansas City, essentially. They got beat down to the ground.
That was the most
After that.
Raider thing I saw. When they danced
Yeah.
on the dancing on it, you're like, okay, this team's done. And they just were like, no, we're not done.
Look, I give them an A+ too. And without all the stuff going on, like you said, the Rugs and all the other BS, I had them only winning 9 games. And they they exceeded that. They won 10 games. They won double digits, man. And they were a play away from winning a playoff game against the Super Bowl participant, the AFC champions. That's huge, bro. And I think a lot of question marks got answered. I mean, it's just a hell of a job, bro.
One,
We said it at the end of the season. A hell of a job by everyone.
we didn't even mention Waller was banged up. The O-line was banged up. But just of all the times last, 3 years you guys started a little good, and we were always like, man, this is the most mentally weak team we've seen, how they just like crumble.
Right.
It's definitely not mentally weak, this group of guys. These
Right.
guys fought tooth and nail every Sunday.
Yeah, and you would think a playoff team, you're going to come back the next season and you're going to bring back everyone. That's not the case, bro. We fired everyone. We fired Mayock. We fired Bisaccia. We're coming in with a whole different group, man, with Josh McDaniels and Ziegler as our GM. I
There's
think the
holes to
first
fill, one. There's
Yeah,
holes to
there's a
fill in
lot
this
of
team.
holes. And the most obvious one that a lot of people are talking about that's not necessarily a hole, but you know how the criticism goes. I talked about it on our podcast a couple of days ago. I want to have your thoughts. Derek Carr, you have a decision. You're the GM for the Ravens.
Fuck them. Extend Derek Carr.
Really?
Don't extend them for $50 million fucking dollars.
What if it's 40?
No, just give him like 30, dude. Like, okay, if Derek Carr wants to hold your franchise hostage for $40 million, be like, dude, like I've talked about this so many times. I'd sit this motherfucker down and be like, you really think you're worth $40 million? I just want I want to hear the words come out of your fucking mouth. I want you to tell me you deserve just as much as Josh Allen. Like Derek Carr, we think you're amazing. We love you.
I mean,
We
that's
want
how
you
much
here.
Dak Prescott makes, Max.
Yeah, well, he's fucking actually has them by the balls. If I was Raiders, I'd be like, you know what? I'd rather suck for a fucking year or two and not fuck our team salary cap wise and just be a middling franchise. I just don't think Derek Carr deserves $40 million. I think he deserves 30. I'd give Derek Carr
It's weird.
40 years, $150 million. And man, I'm an asshole, right? But that's a lot of money. I don't understand why every quarterback has to reset the fucking market.
And it's funny that the most winningest quarterback is the one that's the only one that has ever done that. That's not fucked this cap up. He's just like the only one that's like, yeah, I'll take a 1-year deal. Like a couple $1 million.
Like Derek Carr, man, like you got your money. You've got $100 million. You're going to get another $100 million. But at this point, don't you want to like have a legacy behind you? Like, don't you want to don't you want to change the team? And I'm not saying he doesn't. I don't know how much money he wants. Like, he deserves an extension. I would love for the Raiders to extend Derek Carr. I think he's a franchise quarterback. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. He gets way too much hate.
Yeah.
But
all those stuff I agree with. On the field, though, Max, I agree with you. I just think it's all the stuff off the field. If I'm playing devil's advocate, if I'm Derek Carr's agent, and I'm trying to get my client the most amount of money, I'm not saying that Derek Carr is saying that, but I'm just saying my job as an agent, I'm trying to get the best contract, the most money possible, right?
Yeah, that's your job.
What I'm saying is like, motherfuckers, I'm more than the quarterback. I'm more than the guy who throws the ball. I'm the guy who kept this organization stable. I'm the adult in the room.
And you have a point. Leader. You have a very valid point, and that's why it's going to be hard, and he might get $40 million just for that shit. But I'm simply talking about the quarterback on the field.
On the field.
He's a top 10 quarterback. You should be not the third most paid quarterback in football. Like you have to understand how good you are. And I understand Derek Carr is really good. I know every time they lose, it's his fucking fault. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. He has no one to throw to. Doesn't matter. His tight end's hurt. Doesn't matter. They can't block or run the ball. It's always his fault.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that he changes head coaches almost.
It might notice, but the usual bullshit questions about Derek Carr. Is he a winner? Does this guy do it? Yeah, he can only do it every other Sunday. And then when one Sunday he can't, it's like, oh, you suck. That's cool. Right.
Another thing about on the field, I would just say this. I heard someone say, and I really like it. Don't pay a premium for a quarterback when you don't get premium results.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Derek Carr, he's going to only give you premium results if you give him some weapons to throw to.
Right.
And I mean, he's made really good results, Juan, with trash.
And why, look, Josh McDaniels and Ziegler, why would you pay him right now? Why would you pay him right now?
You
Just
wouldn't.
just let him play. Let's see how he looks. Let's see how he looks. And look, Derek Carr has said many times, I'm a Raider for life. I don't know how much you can take into that, but it's something. I will be like, okay, you want to be a Raider for life? All right, play out your contract. Let's see what you got this year with McDaniels. We'll see what happens next year.
I just feel like Derek Carr, the guy, isn't always the most. I need to be the highest paid. I don't.
You
And
would
I
think
know
that.
we don't know Derek Carr, but I really think if you told him you can make 150 million and build a winning like culture in Vegas with just playoffs for years to come, or you can take 300 like 250 and suck, he'd take the less money. That's just what I think. And if he takes less money, maybe they can get him some players one because he needs a receiver. They need some O-line help. Maybe some Trent Brown come back, get the gang back together.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Raider fan, I want Ryan Jensen for the offensive line. Get the center. We've seen Derek Carr with a good center. You know how much they love it. And I look at a guy like DJ Chark if I couldn't get Devontae Adams. I think DJ Chark's a prime target for a lot of guys. I think he's really good. I know you hate him because he's fast and only gets open. So let's hear what you think.
No, I love all of those. I wouldn't mind that. I'm a big fan of Andre James, though. That's just me. I thought late in the season he really showed why the coaches moved on
I thought he
from
played good
Ronnie
too.
Hudson. Yeah,
I thought
but
you need someone on the interior, dude. It's bad.
no,
Like I don't think Leatherwood's good.
That and Leatherwood, even if he does shoot out the tackle again, like who are you gonna play? Denzel Good? Like, no pun intended, he's not good enough. But
John Simpson.
wishful thinking with the whole Devontae Adams thing. I know a lot of Raider fans are fucking like, oh, Devontae, he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna be a free agent, bro. A lot of these guys are probably not gonna make it.
I'll say this
onto the
one:
market.
the GM literally said we might not tag him, which is a very weird thing for a GM to say.
It is weird. A lot of these elite guys, though, like the J.C. Jacksons, the Orlando Brown, Devontae Adams, Teron Armstead, Chris Godwin, a lot of these guys are probably not even going to sniff the market. They always wind up, 2022 free agents, baby. Like, no, none. These guys are elite, dude. It's rare that elite guys like Devontae Adams hits the market. It's super rare. So I'm going to count him out. That's wishful thinking. That's the number one priority, I would say, for if Adams is out there, of course, you go get him. For me, I will go out and get J.C. Jackson or Stefan Gilmore or corner. I think that will be great for the Raiders, dude. The Raiders
Do you
haven't
bring
had a good
Casey
corner.
Hayward?
No, I think he's too long in the tooth. He had an amazing year last year. I know you picked him as an All-Pro. I would stick with Trayvon Mullen. Trayvon Mullen was hurt almost all year last year. I would roll with elite corner going into the next season from free agency or via trade with J.C. Jackson and Stephon Gilmore.
I agree with you. It's kind of hard to bet on that twice. I bet a year on that twice for Casey Hayward.
Exactly. Hey, I know last year I gave this a lot of shit. I wouldn't mind Hassan Riddick either.
You were like, this is the
I know.
biggest fool's effing gold.
I know. But let's move on to the next division, man. Let's hit the...
We got the East, West, East, North, and South. Where do you want to go?
Let's go East.
Okay.
Let's hit the Buffalo Bills. They're pretty quick. Okay. Bills. I'm gonna go A minus. A minus. It would have been higher. It would have been an A if they won the AFC Championship, and it would have been an A plus if they made it to the Super Bowl. But they didn't. The overtime rules fucked them. It is what it is. Josh Allen. He is the second best quarterback in the league, if not the best. Amazing year by them.
I gave the Bills an A1 for everything you said. It sucked they couldn't win a coin toss because that's how football games should be decided. That's pretty stupid. I was going to give them an A+, but then they had that last defensive possession where they just let the Chiefs get 50 yards in, 10 seconds? No. So can't give them an A+ for that. But, man, this team's on the rise, man. And then you know what, one? I feel like the roster has a lot of improvements they can make. They don't really have a good D-line. They don't really have a good O-line. They don't have a second receiver. They don't have a running back one. So what would you target if you were going to improve this Bills team? What if you wanted to make a splash?
I mean, I would have said a second receiver if I didn't see that Gabriel Davis
Okay,
game.
let's just – I don't think he's 4 touchdowns good a game for the rest of his career.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most definitely. If a guy like Chris Godwin hit the market, I would go out and swing for Chris Godwin.
I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'd take a swing at Will Fuller if I'm them. Get some speed on the team. Because they have good receivers. They just don't have a speedster. And on defense anyone on the D-line would help. Even a corner. I like Trey White one, but I just don't think he can lock guys down man to man.
Yeah. I like it. It was a great year by them. Any maybe they take a step back without Dable? Or you think Josh Allen's just too good? We're going to find out who it was.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen's too good. I think their offense might be a little like sputtery just because they have to get used to someone new.
Right.
But I think they'll be fine in the long run.
Yeah. Hopefully, man. They're a little bit over the cap. I think they're minus $7.9 million. Maybe they wind up cutting some guys. We'll see, man.
Well, I'm sure they'll get some money somewhere.
Yeah. New England Patriots. I'm gonna give them an A+, dude. Rookie quarterback.
Oh, you're on fucking drugs. How do you get that?
Look, A+.
You can't get clapped up in that game. You gotta give him an A, bro. You can't get clapped up by the Bills.
I'll give him an A. I mean, can you blame him?
I mean, they beat him without throwing the ball.
That is tough.
Give him an A.
Okay, I'll give him an A.
I'm giving him a B.
Really? Let me hear.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Let me hear it.
Yeah, they had a rookie quarterback and they don't have the most talented roster. So I thought they had a good year. But the way they lost in the playoff game was like, man, maybe they just kind of feasted on the weak a little bit. And that's what kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. There's a lot of improvement to be made. Bill Belichick's still in his bag. Mac Jones looks good, but maybe a little overrated. Like, I know he made a Pro Bowl. That doesn't matter. It doesn't mean shit. But just in the aspect of making big throws. Because I feel like the training wheels were on him for a long part of the season. And their offense isn't really built to get explosive plays.
I think that was huge for them last year. I mean, they had a guy in Nelson Aguilar where he's a speed demon, essentially.
Didn't have the Raider year. I'll say that. He didn't have the Raider year.
And I just think Mac Jones is just not at a level where he can throw the ball deep yet. Like, he's still growing. And to me, I think they played with house money, making it to the playoffs. They potentially almost won. They had a chance at the division, the way that they were playing the Bills. The thing that scares me going forward with this team is honestly losing Josh McDaniels. Besides Bill Belichick, that's been one of the most stable positions in their organization. It's been Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. Who's been the offensive coordinator calling the plays for every single winning Super Bowl team? It's been Josh fucking McDaniels. So that's alarming, dude. I don't know if this stops the growth of Mac Jones. I don't know if their offense takes a step way back. We'll see. Bill Belichick always winds up finding guys. Once upon a time, he had Eric Mangini and all those other guys. But we'll see. What's your thoughts on that, Max?
I agree with you on it's a little concerning when a coach of 15 plus years leaves. I know he left for a year in Denver, 2 years in Denver, but he's been there for a long ass time. He's one of the best offensive minds in football. They've been offering him jobs left and right, and he's stayed.
Yeah.
So I'm a little curious to see what it's going to look like. And they have a lot of guys who could leave. They got McCourty, J.C. Jackson, Dante Hightower, who's been one of your favorite players for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think this team needs star power wide receiver, and they need speed on defense because Josh Allen destroyed them. It looked like Josh Allen was playing against a college team. And the way to add speed to defense, you get a guy like Nwansu from the Chargers, and this would be my key guy. I would love if they got Justin Reed. I feel like he could be a McCourty light.
I'm going to steal this from you because I see it in your notes, the doc that you sent me. Calais Campbell, I love that, Max. I love that.
I thought Bill Belichick could have some fun with Calais Campbell.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect destination for him to finish off his career. I think he still has a little bit more in the tank left, but we'll see, man. They got $8.3 million. To me, number one priority, you got to sign J.C. Jackson. You cannot let that shutdown corner leave your building. I know Bill Belichick's like the factory of cornerbacks where he just winds up finding these dudes left and right. I just think J.C. Jackson is very special, and you cannot lose him. Priority number one, dude.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. 9-8, missed the playoffs. Obviously, fired their head coach, Brian Flores. I'm giving them an F. No, you know what?
How can you not, bro? I mean, their coaches suing them.
I'll give them a D minus, Max, because they finished off the season great.
Yeah, I
You
feel
know,
like all that just gets erased when your coach sues you after you fire him.
yeah, it's tough to
I gave him an
forget.
F just because of all the shit that's happening now. And I like if they didn't fire Flores, I would have given them like a D plus. Look, they have no answer at quarterback. Tua's not the guy. They have a defense that's good, but you just fired one of the best defensive minds in football.
Sheesh.
I don't know what this team's going to be. I know they hired Mike McDaniel. What's his name? McDaniel? No,
Mike
McDaniel.
McDaniel.
Is Mike McDaniel, right? Okay.
Yeah.
From the
San
from the
Francisco. 49ers,
who's biracial or whatever. He's so that's a great.
He's
I guess,
white. He's
yes,
white to me.
that's going to help the lawsuit, I guess.
Yeah.
But they have a star. They drafted 2 stars in my mind: Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle. A lot of Jalen's lately. I don't know why, man. I'm getting a lot of Jalen's, but this team, man, all the good momentum, I feel like they just erased with all this shit. Like the players are mad that he got fired.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, yeah, you need a quarterback, obviously. Deshaun Watson. Well, he was most tied to Brian Flores. So what now? And they have the most cap in the league, so they could go out and make some splashes, but
Yeah.
you can't go buy Deshaun Watson. You have to trade stuff for him. So if they get him, they're a player. But other than that, I don't think so.
I mean, it's tough, bro. Like, where do you go? To me, Tua is not the dude. Okay, they messed up, and it's not the fact that they winded up failing the tank, and Brian Flores winded up winning a game or winning more games than everyone expected. I think the big miss that the Dolphins had that no one ever talks about is they missed out on Herbert. That's who they missed out on.
And they said Flores wanted Herbert. They said Flores was a Herbert guy.
Everyone's saying that they messed up to get Joe Burrow. You still had a chance to get Justin Herbert, and they missed out on him. They went with Tua. Tua is not the dude, man. He has a noodle arm. He is not the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins going forward. And I think if he has any shot to prove me wrong and you wrong, Max, and whoever doubts him in the NFL circles, it's Mike McDaniels. This is his last fucking chance because I think they're not going to get their hands on another quarterback. I don't think a quarterback wants to step foot in that organization right now as long as Stephen Ross is the owner.
Yeah, and your coach is suing the NFL.
Right.
If they're going to let Tua succeed, they got to get him an O-line. Maybe Teron Armstead, Brandon Scherf. You get both those guys, kind of rebuild the line because he's not the guy who's going to make off-schedule plays. Tua needs to be very on schedule. And maybe you'll get another receiver or you get maybe some guys on defense.
You need someone, look, it's one of the two. You need linemen and you need someone to run the rock. They cannot run the ball.
Maybe
they
Leonard
had a
Fournette.
lot of misses. Yeah, they had a lot of misses. They had a lot of misses on the offensive line. Like Austin Jackson is a bust from USC. Like he's flat out bad. So they need to draft some linemen or get some linemen from free agency, and they need to build the run game because that's what Mike McDaniels is. Everyone slobbers all over him in San Francisco because of the run game style and plays that he creates on the chalkboard, apparently. Okay, because he wasn't the play caller for the 49ers. I
think he was the run game designer or the pass game designer?
No, he was the offensive coordinator, but everyone knew Kyle Shanahan called the plays.
Oh yeah,
but
I feel like he
was really big. Yeah, he was really big in the game plan and the scheme of things.
Yeah,
I mean, look, I'm taking the player's word for Deebo Samuel and a lot of the offensive linemen saying Mike McDaniels is a genius. Okay, but we'll see how much he's a genius if he turns around to a quarterback skills.
I really want Leonard Fournette to go here one just so he can hit the trifecta of Florida teams.
Hey, maybe Melvin Gordon.
Maybe. I like a guy who can play for every team in a state, especially if there's multiple teams. I like a Jacksonville Jaguar jersey Fournette, a Tampa jersey Fournette, and now a Dolphin Fournette. I think that'd just be really a good way to end this. To be probably the final stop in his career.
Oh man. Okay, let's move on to the Jets. 4-13. Obviously a down year. Had a rookie quarterback. I'm gonna give him a C-. It was ugly at times. It was, but this is all to be expected, especially with all the injuries that they had to start off the year. No Mekhi Becton. They lost their edge rusher.
Didn't even play.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give him a C-. It wasn't all that bad, and I like some signs that I seen from Zack Wilson in some games.
I agree. I have a C1 for all the same reasons. Look, they're rebuilding. I kind of would have wished their defense was better than 32nd, especially with Robert Saleh. I feel
Right.
like the D line's the only good unit. I still want to see more out of Quinn Williams one. I feel like for the prospect he was hyped up to be, a little underwhelming. And I know they don't have the most talent around him, but this team's going to be active in free agency. They have $48 million or whatever. Just don't overpay for somebody like you did Corey Davis. Just be smart with your money. That's all I ask.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna be real big on Zach Wilson. I really do like. I think he's falling a little bit under the radar going into this season. I don't like the fact that people are not putting stock into him. Like if he looked terrible,
Very
you know, like
quiet for Zach. He came on at the later part of the year too.
it was the New England games. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been embarrassed by the New England Patriots, and he's no different. So we'll see what happens then. As far as improving, I mean, where can't they improve?
Yeah,
Uh,
they can get any. Just spend your money wisely. That's why I said it one. They can go
yeah.
get a lot of people, but don't go pay $50 million for somebody who you're like, wow, why would you do that?
You know who I would love for this team? I would love Tyrann Mathieu. I think he's a
Give them a
guy
little
that can,
edge, build some
yeah,
culture.
yeah, culture. That's key word. I think you need a guy, especially on the defensive side, with Robert Saleh being your head coach, to give out the message to the other players and make everyone believe the process, believe the culture, believe on what's happening here. Kind of like the 49ers back in the day with Richard Sherman. It's like you need that veteran. He's still good at the end of his career. He's going to wind up relating that message to a potentially, pretty talented defense from the Jets. They probably just need someone to guide them.
I agree with you. I like that one. I like the little culture building aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, that's the AFC East for you guys. Let's move on to
So
the
north or south one, I will let you pick.
let's go north. Let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals because they're pretty quick.
A
Um,
plus,
A
easy
plus, man.
money.
I
They
mean, talk about exceeding expectations.
Well, we said it 100 times. Good decision drafting Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, who's still very good. It wasn't a top tier offense. It wasn't a top tier defense, but they were a top tier team because they always fought. They were stingy. They made plays. Even if they lost in the AFC Championship game, one it would have been like A plus. Who would have thought?
Let
And
let's
now they
get
have to
it.
deal with expectations. One.
Yeah, let's get into that. I think that's where we got to straight go for it. Forget all the players. They got the talent, man, and everyone knows they got to pick up linemen. Okay, that's the bottom line. It's obvious. You don't need to know
If you
football
see my notes,
necessarily
I
to figure it
listed
out.
6 offensive linemen. I was like, I'm just going to list everyone I can think of. You need to make Eli Apple the highest paid corner in the sport just for that performance. Look, they might lose Jesse Bates. I would re-sign him one, and then like the Chiefs did, you got to rebuild your offensive line right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Is this though, Max? Is this for real?
I think so. I
Like,
think Joe
is
Burrow
this here to
is.
stay?
I think Joe Burrow's here to stay. They might take a step back a little bit because they got to deal with expectations. They could get injured, but I like a lot of the talent on this team, and quite frankly, it's not like uber talented. I like the guys there, but you're not like, wow. It's like Jack. Remember Saxonville's defense? You're like, wow, they have 11 like Pro Bowlers basically. They have like 2 guys who are like really good, and then everyone else is solid. So if they can add some guys, just like a little more talent, they draft well. Why can't they be back? And I know it's
Look,
easier said than done.
the thing that scares me, Max, is that this is a very conservative franchise. They're one of the poorer franchises in the league.
Well, I kind of
Very
hope
con-
they're changing, dude.
yeah,
I really
I
hope.
hope so too because I think the time is not to relax. You're in the AFC North, dog. Like I know you beat the division last year, and I mean, granted, you can argue. Look, Steelers are still really good. They just have Big Ben at
But
quarterback.
one,
Baltimore Ravens are still
what
good.
team in the division's on the rise?
I
I
think
feel
you
like
can.
everyone's falling down, and it's the Bengals' time. I don't feel like the Ravens. I feel like the Ravens kind of had their shot. They missed it. Pittsburgh had their shot and missed it. Cleveland's Cleveland. They're not in it.
I disagree, man. I think Pittsburgh is still very good. They just need a quarterback. And Baltimore, I think they're still very good too. I think they can win the Super Bowl next year. Like
I
don't count out Lamar Jackson.
Now you're the Lamar guy, and I'm not.
I'm
How'd
the
that
Lamar
happen?
guy. I'm the Lamar guy.
Well, let's talk about him. Fuck it. Let's go right now. Let's go to Baltimore.
Okay.
So, I mean, their team grade it's hard because it's like a C and like a B. I'm gonna go with the B minus because they had so many freaking injuries. They lost games. They were in games they shouldn't even been close in. They went for 2 and lost. Justin Tucker set an NFL record. B minus for the
Huntley was
Ravens.
playing quarterback. And let's just be real. They was 8-9. They wound up missing the playoffs. They lost so many games at the end, dude. It was just Lamar.
Like if they were a shit team, they would have went 4-12 or 4-13.
Yeah.
So I'd go with the B minus. What are you gonna go with?
I'm gonna go with a C minus because I know that the Ravens are better than that, and they could have made the playoffs this year if Lamar wasn't hurt. But I look at this team and all the injured guys that are coming back next year. I got them as a Super Bowl contender, and I just think they're a couple pieces away. I thought that this year before all the injuries.
What pieces?
For one, they need to get a second receiver. I know they got one. They got one. I like Marquise Brown.
They need a first receiver. They need an alpha dog receiver.
You don't think that's Rashad Bateman though?
No, I don't. Not yet. I didn't see enough from him where I'm like, damn. I feel like Rashad Bateman's a good too. And Marquise Brown, he's a really good playmaker. I wouldn't classify him as like, damn, he's going to get open all game. He's going to hit a couple home runs every now and then.
To me, Max,
unless you think I'm wrong.
No, I think you're a little wrong in this aspect. I just think when Marquise Brown kind of died down, it's when Lamar got hurt. Like, I just feel like
but do you think Marquise Brown's a number one receiver on a team? Or is he more like
I think he showed that. I think he showed that last year.
I don't think so, dude. I just think he's like, you got to give him some touches and then he can make magic with the touches. Like, you give him a jet sweep, he'll get you fit. But he's not going to beat guys all game.
You might be right. You might be right. And maybe Baltimore has the same thinking as you. Hopefully they go out and get a receiver. But that, and they need to get a little bit younger on defense. You know,
need some
add
speed.
another edge rusher. Yeah, get some. I mean, they got enough with Odafe. What's his name?
Jason Away or Odafe Away. He's fast, but I mean, you look at they're like too big. I feel like they're all big and hulking. So you need a little speed right there.
Right. Because their offense is loaded besides receiver.
They could use some O-line. That's really it. I feel like.
Yeah. A big guy that needs to bounce back and see what's going on. That's making a lot of money. Ronnie Stanley.
2 straight years of injuries.
That's concerning, man. It's very concerning. I see a couple guys that you listed for them at receiver. Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, and Juju. Juju switching up colors?
I think so. I think Godwin would be the best case for them. I know you'll have to like kind of be without him for a few weeks, but you also need to keep one guy. They are gonna maybe lose. They need to keep Patrick Ricard. I feel like he does a lot for them. Right. I know he's a fullback. I get it. But I feel like if there's a 300-pound fullback in the league, it should be on Baltimore.
Any guy can you think of that they can trade for to flip the NFL and be like, oh shit, the Ravens got him?
Jamar Chase? No. They would have to get some receiver, some really good receiver. Yeah. I don't know who that guy is because is there a disgruntled receiver? You're like, damn, they could get him. But they got DK Metcalf.
Or if they got Khalil Mack.
I don't think that changes stuff that much anymore. Again, it's like you just said the defense needs to get younger. And yeah, he's good. Like, would you be like super impressed if they signed Von Miller?
I'll be shocked, honestly.
Like, what I'm saying, would that really move the needle for you? You'd be like, wow.
I don't think so.
And I mean, we should probably touch on this just a little. What do you think Lamar's going to get? Are you going to extend him or not? I don't think I would. Like, I love Lamar.
Extend him.
I just feel like it's risky, dude. It's real risky.
I would do it.
So what's the like 40 million, 50, 45?
I'll pay him 40.
Is he going to be the highest paid quarterback when he gets his contract?
I mean, just by the way the market is, he probably will be. But I would pay him Dak Prescott money, Josh Allen, the $40 million in that area, and I feel like he really does deserve it. He has premium play.
He deserves that one, but I'm saying if if you pay him that much,
The
and you're
injury
running
concerns.
yeah. And I don't. It's not that I think he's injury prone. It's just like he gets put in a lot more injury positions than other quarterbacks because the way he plays.
Yeah. Wouldn't you argue with Josh Allen though too?
And Josh Allen's 250. I give him a little credit. Like I agree. I agree with you 100.
Yeah.
But I feel like Josh Allen doesn't get the ball as much as Lamar when on runs, and two, he's like 250 pounds. He's a big dude.
Right.
And I feel like if Lamar tore his ACL, it would scare me a lot more than if Josh Allen tore his ACL. That's just how I feel about it.
No, well said.
So do you want to go to
Steelers?
Pittsburgh? We got Pittsburgh and Cleveland, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to Pittsburgh.
Yep. 9-7-1. Stupid ass tie.
I honestly give them a C plus. I know they made the playoffs. I know, but they shouldn't have been there. They suck. That's why they got blown out.
Yeah, I got the same grade, C plus. This team has a lot of talent, Max. I think more than people give them credit for. They got Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson. I think Deontay Johnson's pretty fucking good. Mika Fitzpatrick. Of course, they got arguably the best defensive player in the league in TJ Watt. Some people will argue. I think they're loaded. A lot of people want to talk about the Broncos being a quarterback away. I feel like whoever gets the starting quarterback job from the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's like winning the lottery. You get stability around you with the head coach, stability with the organization. You get a great defense, and you get receivers and playmakers.
If I'm Pittsburgh, I'd want Russ more than anybody. One, I feel like Russ is obviously going to be well accustomed to a shitty offensive line, which they do have. No. I know he can't make magic like every play anymore, but still he can run around there. Two, I feel like he just brings the belief in themselves. I was like, damn, we can win this. Like he's like the players really like him. Excuse me, and I feel like Pittsburgh will just get along good with Russ. So if I was them, I'd throw all the shit into the Russ hat, like Russ basket. I wouldn't want Jimmy G. What's the point? What's the point of giving up a second round pick for a Jimmy G? You might as well just go for a rookie first round quarterback and then get some talent.
Yeah, I don't know who they're gonna get, man. I would argue that you go out and get a guy like Derek Carr at all costs. I think Carr would be amazing.
I think so too. I just don't think Oakland would do it, or Las Vegas. Sorry.
No, I feel you.
I feel you. Raider bucket.
I think if you're the Steelers, you gotta hope like the Raiders wind up getting. This is so wishful thinking, is totally out of line. But a guy like Brady, Rodgers, Wilson, one of the big elite guys that wind up putting Derek Carr down to a team that doesn't have a quarterback, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Deshaun Watson, a cat that you got to watch out for. He is just such a question mark. The talent is there. Pittsburgh will for sure do it, and you got to go out and get Deshaun Watson if he's available.
I would like some O-line help too for Pittsburgh, like Ryan Jensen, his blue collarness in Pittsburgh. I think that'd be a good match.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying about the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of these teams, in my opinion, I know you feel differently about the Ravens, but I think the Ravens are a Super Bowl contender. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they wind up getting their hands on a quarterback, they're going to be in the mix, dude. And just like that, the Bengals wind up falling to the third best team in the league. I mean, in their division. It can happen in the blink of an eye. Just like that. That's my opinion.
I agree. I agree there's a possibility for that, but right now I just feel like both of their arrows are kind of ticking down more than I feel like the Bengals made a huge leap and they both kind of fell a little bit. And I know they fell for different reasons and they could come back because they've been the two of the best franchises in football. I'd say they're top 4 franchises, both those things in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
They've just been good the whole time. They've had a couple of years off, but it's not like they're Cleveland, right? Where it's like 1 good year and 5 bad years.
Where's that in my mouth? I got a D for them, straight up. It was just
I got a C minus, and I put the C for commercial.
Okay, this is the main this is the main issue here.
What one?
Do you keep Baker?
Is it Baker's house, Juan? Is it Baker's house?
No. What the fuck happened to this team? This was supposed to be the Cincinnati Bengals. This was the team supposed to exceed expectations and go to the Super Bowl and win the division. This is the team. What happened? They went 8-9, and their quarterback was Baker Mayfield. That's what happened.
I mean, to be honest, though, I have to say 8-9 isn't that bad for Browns, but just the expectations are what kills them. Like 8-9, you're like, wow, they weren't awful. Like we've kind of talked about them like they were a train wreck. They weren't that big a train wreck. It's just the quarterback position is a train wreck. Because Baker Mayfield's not the guy in my mind. There's no fucking way you give him an extension. He ran OBJ out of town. OBJ's still a good football player. And just I feel like they kind of don't like they have the two best they have two really good running backs, right? Yeah. And you have this guy who's supposed to be the next great quarterback, and you're just like, what are we doing here? Let's just not trust Baker Mayfield and ground and pound with Chubb. And Chubb was hurt, Hunt was hurt, and they had to give it to D'Ernest, who's really good, who might be a starting running back next year.
D'Ernest.
So, look, they could use some talent. Again, I feel like what I said about the Chargers applies to the Browns. They got a lot of flash. They have no substance. It's like we got Garrett, we got Clowney. Then what else you got? They have JOK, who's really good, but then who's that? They have Denzel Ward, then who? Nobody. It's like they have they have like two good position, like two good guys, and no one good.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue it's just like it's one of those teams where you get all these guys, but they don't play well together. Like they have a bunch of talent, they just simply don't.
It's like unlike the Bengals, who aren't a lot of great players, but they play amazing together.
Right. Yeah, you see it all around the league. You know, the Buffalo Bills are a little like that with their defense. You know, they just I feel like the Browns just had no type of continuity like this year. Like it was bad. I didn't like what I seen from the Browns, dude. It was just terrible.
Didn't either. It was a train wreck.
So what do you do? What do you do to start to improve this team? Like what's your first duty?
Well, you have to have a long look in the mirror about Baker Mayfield. Is like, do we roll the year with him, or we just cut ties right now? We go get Jimmy G, who can kind of probably win us 9 games, and then we can just target a quarterback in the future to get there. Maybe we go all in for Deshaun Watson, bro. I'd be like, here's Baker, here's 2 firsts, here you go. Have fun. I feel like Baker would be nice on a bad team, and maybe this is a time to bring this up. I know Baker hasn't been good from like a production standpoint, Juan, but don't you think he's kind of meant more to this franchise just by giving them kind of a belief in themselves?
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm just gonna say. Like, if you're the Browns, do you take Baker again at 1? And I know that sounds crazy, right? Because Josh Allen's there. But don't you think if you throw Josh Allen into a train wreck organization,
maybe you don't see the same results
with Hugh Jackson and Freddie Fat Boy always in the kitchen?
And you would argue, I mean, look, hindsight is 20/20, obviously, but Josh Allen, thinking of rookie Josh Allen, no, prospect Josh Allen, fuck that, for even better. That kid's gonna have so much pressure on him, dude. Like Josh Allen, he was already getting clowned on when he was missing targets on NFL Network show, like just throwing balls. Like,
and if he's the first overall pick in the draft, it's a huge
Yeah,
he was the third quarterback taken. Josh Allen, he was the 7th pick in the draft. Yeah, so Darnold went before him. In Cleveland and New York, they're a football town. Like New York's probably a baseball town, but everyone loves the Jets. Like they're always talking about New York. It's a huge market. Cleveland, it's all they talk about is football. Like, I'm sorry, Cavs. I know you guys are kind of back, but all they were talking about was football at the time. Buffalo, it's small town Buffalo. You can grow there. You can be kind of bad. No one really gives a shit.
Yeah. Interesting take on Baker. I would cut bait with him. I would get Jimmy G.
Like he changed he changed the culture and gave you guys a belief you can be good. Yeah. He did his job.
Yeah. I just feel like, man, he is just holding them back so much. And it's tough, man. Yeah, I would get rid of him. No way pay him. If I had to pick a guy for them to pick up now, I mean, just take your pick. They got talent everywhere. Like, it's just going to be adding to it. I would get a receiver because I heard Jarvis Landry is going to leave. And so you got to get some type of weapon out
Maybe
there.
Mike Williams. They throw money at him.
Yeah, but I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. Maybe even a Michael Gallup would be really good for them, I feel like.
That wouldn't be bad. Yeah. They just need to get some depth and just some solid guys who can play their job and don't buy into expectations. That's what they need.
maybe even more of a veteran fill on defense. They have a lot of young guys. Maybe, get the Tyrann Matthew or the Richard Sherman in there to go hold these guys accountable. Maybe even a Calais Campbell.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's move on to our last division, man. We appreciate anyone that's watching this full episode, man. Thank you for all the love, dude. Thank you for making it this far. If you guys made it this far, don't forget to hit that like button. Helps us out tremendously.
Don't forget to give yourself a pat on the back. This is some heavy football talk, bro. This is some big boy football talk.
Hey, and if anyone here that fast forward just to get to their team, it's all good. We love y'all too. All right. But just watch the whole episode. Here and there, right? Just here and there. Tennessee Titans. Shout out to my boy Peyton and your boy Peyton. 12-5. Lost in the divisional round. Man, I mean, that ended fast. Number 1 seed in the AFC, and you show that. What do you grade them?
I'm a B. They had a lot of injuries. They lost Smoke Henry, lost Julio Jones, shocker, lost A.J. Brown. They've had no production from first-round picks in 2 years. Great job. But I give them a B. I know it went badly. I know they lost in the playoffs, but I feel like this team was a lot of Vrabel this year. Just like, man, they're going to gut it out. They were 12-5. Like, in a normal year, they're not the 1 seed. So let's not act like they were some, like, dominant team. They weren't. So I give them a B. There's room to grow. They need to get healthy, too. But I know Tannehill's going to take a beating for how he played. I still think he's good enough to get the job done.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Hire Todd Downing. Sorry, last thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I give him a B also. All the same reasons as you, injuries and just not having the right guys at the right time sometimes. I think their biggest regret, what they're going to have, and look, I love Smoke Henry and I love Derrick Henry. I just think they simply did not give Foreman enough touches in that game. I thought they treated Derrick Henry like if he was 100%. I know supposedly he looked good in practice, and that's the best running back.
Foreman looked good in the fucking game.
Yeah, but I just feel like the fact that every time Foreman touched the ball, it was just a chunk of yardage. It's a tough pill to swallow, in my opinion.
And they shot themselves in the foot. Too many turnovers.
Yeah,
threw 3 picks.
But they got the job done as far as the regular season, but that doesn't always count. It's tough because Julio's another year older now.
Well, they need a receiver, right? One. If you were going to say they need a team, like a need, you have to. Like, I only say that because if Julio Jones is healthy the whole year, you don't. But come on, you going to bet on that?
I mean, yeah. At this point, you can't bet on that. Dude.
What like a Cedric Wilson?
I mean, I would like Michael Gallup for them too.
I would like that too. I would like Cedric. I feel like Cedric Wilson's going to make some team really happy with his thing. And then I would say they need a corner too. I like Caleb Farley a lot. We both do, but to me, it's not about the talent with him. It's just going to be if is he ever going to be healthy ever.
Yeah.
And we said that during the draft. I know everyone's going to say you get number 1 corner. Like, yeah, we said if he's healthy, he's going to be good. Like we were very well aware he could not stay healthy. I would like Dante Jackson if I was them. I like Dante Jackson a lot. Yeah. And they have your boy who's Christian Fulton, who's good. So they got some good guys.
I like Fulton. Fulton had a good year. A guy that is probably not going to get talked about, but he's one of these under the radar kind of guys who wind up hitting free agency. And it's crazy that he's 26 years old. His name is Harold Landry. Mm-hmm. I think this is a guy that they need to re-sign. Like, these are guys that teams try to target in free agency where you want to get those young guys who teams just simply cannot sign them. They're young. They're 26. This is considered their prime.
Do you think he's boomer bust?
I don't think so. I think he works good in their system. And if
let's remember how we said about Trey Hendrickson, we're like, oh, don't touch this fucking guy. And
Trey Hendrickson's better.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying, but just in like that role, he was that guy who was like, he's the edge rusher of this free agency. Like, do you think Harold Landry, if they got signed by the Jets, we never hear from him again?
Yeah, there's a good chance. He needs to at least go to a team that has other guys on the line. He can't be an alpha. He's not an alpha.
And then what about the other 2 linebackers, Javon Brown and Rashad Evans? I feel like you're gonna have to pick one.
Yeah, it's tough.
I like Javon Brown. I think he's good for them. He's not like amazing. I feel like he's in the Devin Bush class of linebackers. Like he's good. I like him. Could we do better? Yeah, but for the price, you probably can't.
Yeah, you got to re-sign just one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I would love this flip. You get rid of Harold Landry, but you wind up getting a guy in Derek Barnett.
Fuck Derek. Yeah, I can't wait for a roughing the passer call on third down for no fucking reason.
You know, like
what
your
about
boy DB?
what if you flipped Harold Landry for Von Miller?
Man, that's just an all-in scenario. I don't know.
I mean, aren't they all in? Isn't this the time?
Yeah, I feel you.
What's up with you with Von Miller? You're not liking him anymore?
I only think Von Miller is only good in some situations. Like, I don't think he's gonna play for anyone else but the Rams. Like,
I think Von Miller will take whoever throws the fucking bag at him. He doesn't need anything to his legacy. He's good. He's got 2 rings and an MVP. What the fuck's he need to do?
I mean, fuck the bag, dogs.
I agree, but I'm saying Von, like, he's good. You know, take the money.
But I think when all said and done, I trust what Vrabel and John Robinson is going to do for this team. They're good moving forward. They're going to be good in the regular season. Mm-hmm. But Cap minus 8.3. Do you see any guys that they're probably cut? I was thinking of a guy. I know it sounds crazy. Taylor Lewan.
I think there's a chance they could cut him. They could probably. I mean, this sounds crazy, Juan, but could they cut like a guy like Bud Dupree a year after signing him? Like, I might think the dead cap. What about Janoris Jenkins? They'll cut him for sure.
What if they cut Julio?
They can't. I don't think. Maybe though.
That wouldn't be surprising.
It would just be a bad optic trading a 2nd-round pick for a guy then cutting him. Yeah. But I mean, I think they're definitely above every team in this division, right? Like, I don't think there's a team. Like, as of right now, I know the Colts are frisky, and I mean, we can get into them right now.
Let's get into them. You want to go into them last?
Yeah, I kind of want to save. Yeah, we can go on them last. So, can we hit Jacksonville?
Do you really want to, save Jacksonville or Houston for last?
No. Let's hit Houston now. We'll knock it out. Honestly, if I was going to give Houston a grade, I'd give them a B. Yeah, they suck. They were surprisingly competent. That's what I give them a B for. They have one of the worst rosters by a talent standpoint, and they were solid. They gave teams fights. They won 4 games. That was 4 more than I thought they'd win. So I give them a B.
Yeah, I gave them an A-. I thought they did 2 things great. They exceeded expectations, / play very hard in every single game. And number 2, I think they found a quarterback. I know Davis Mills is not amazing, but it's interesting. I want to see some more from Davis Mills. And
well, they can add anything, right? They need everything.
Everything.
They need linemen. Everything. They need defense. Whatever. They need anything and anyone who will come. And they don't have a lot of cap, but they'll cut some guys, save some money. So Houston, it's brighter than it was last year for sure.
Yeah. First order of business: trade Cooks.
Get some capital.
Yeah. Get whatever you can get for him. The thing that I hate about this is Lovie Smith. I mean, he's basically the David Culley of last year.
Yeah, why don't we just keep David Culley and just fire him this year?
It was really dumb. Really, really dumb. I think what happened, they wanted to hire Josh McCown. They got scared because of the Brian Flores stuff. And they wound up hiring Lovie Smith because of the whole minority thing.
I kind of thought that myself too. I mean, look, it's a better hire than Urban Meyer. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Urban Meyer, let's hit the Jaguars. Look, I think everyone, it's an F. But look, everyone's going to think, Max, is this the team to go from worst to first? At least one of the teams. There's, I think, 15 straight years in the NFL, there has been a team that has gone worst to first in their own division. Is the Jacksonville Jaguars that team? They got Lawrence. You got to think Lawrence is probably going to be the most improved quarterback out of the class. You would think.
You definitely need that to happen. I've laid this out before, and I'm going to sound like a broken record. This was the worst possible way to start off the career for Trevor Lawrence in a standpoint of 1, team around him, 2, coach around him, 3, it's a young quarterback. You need stability. Again, the whole organization, they're wearing clown masks to a game. It's just you see bad habits. You see Trevor Lawrence like do shit you've never seen him do, and it's just like, yeah, the last week of the season he looked like the first overall pick, which is good. But the other weeks it's like, man, he looks lost out there. And I understand it's everything around him that made him look bad, maybe.
No.
But it scared the shit out of me when I was like, wow. I told you off there, I'm like, this is like nightmare situation for him.
This is like worst can happen.
And
man.
they have a lot of money. They can go fix the team if they want to. One, you got to protect the kid. Two, you need to give them some pass catchers. And they need everything, honestly, other than quarterback. You have to build around them.
Do you like
either
the hire?
Doug Peterson, I kind of like him. I feel like they're going to run a real gimmicky offense. Like it's going to look kind of like Clemson. A lot of RPOs. They're going to get Travis Etienne back, so they'll be explosive. But overall, I feel real split on if they can go first to worst. Like I didn't see good strides from them. Like, okay, if they had the season of the Houston Texans, I could be like, yeah, I could see them really doing it. But the way they looked for a big part of the year, it doesn't make me think they can.
You know what though? They did have some bright spots though. Look, two that I want to point out, and I know it was only 2 times, but against the Bills, and a lot of people can argue that was more the Bills wrong than the Jags doing right. And number 2 against the Colts, they beat the shit out of the Colts, man. They manhandled. The defense had some very bright moments during the season.
I think that's a really good time to talk about the Colts, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
If I was going to give the Colts a grade on the last week of the season, it'd be an F, but I'm going to give them a D. Honestly, the Wentz trade doesn't look like it's going to work out just from stuff we've been hearing from the front office. I mean, look, Carson Wentz, I don't think he was awful as people say. He wasn't good, though. You don't trade a first-round pick for a quarterback to look like that. I'm just going to say this. He threw for 27 touchdowns, threw 7 picks. I know he plays with an amazing O-line, good players, but it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. I'm not trying to say he's a franchise quarterback of the future. Like, if they cut him, I'd understand. But Juan, was it really as bad as everyone talked about?
It wasn't as bad as people talked about, but it is an F.
Yeah.
It was.
I get it. Dude. I get it. I mean, dude, every time they seem to get like momentum, it was like, oh, he got COVID or he sprained his ankle. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to give him as much flack as everyone else did, but it was bad. It was. And I think the worst case scenario happened. Him playing all those games and he still didn't make the playoffs. And just the fashion that it happened. Like, you lost to the Jags, my guy. What the fuck? Like,
but that, I just want to say, I've said it so many times. That game wasn't on fucking him only. They got their ass kicked up and down the field.
No.
Like, there's a lot of bright spots on the Colts. Like, you got your boy Maniac, Kenny Moore, who owes me a lunch, I guess, for him.
I mean, that boy got tore up the last 3 weeks of the season. But
I just needed to win the fucking bet. That's all I needed to win.
Only if we can vote on Pro Bowl after the season is over, not week 12. But,
the bet wasn't about Pro Bowl. It was about some bullshit. I gotta look it up. But look, there's a lot of bright spots. I mean, like, look, let's cut bait with T.Y. Hilton, right? Like, he's a franchise legend. Let's stop depending on him to play and be really good. No. And let's go out there. Let's get some guys. Let's get some corners. Let's get some guys on offense. Get another receiver maybe. For whoever the quarterback. I'm not just going to say like, oh, let's go get a quarterback. Yeah, no shit. They need to go get one probably.
I would say this though, Max. I think it's one guy that you're not bringing up and probably not a lot of people are going to bring up. I think Frank Wright needs to be accountable for this. I think
he's a little warmer on the ass than it was last year.
Yeah, I think very warmer. And he's the guy that wanted Carson Wentz. And that's something where you call out to go get a guy like Carson Wentz and it doesn't work out, like, yeah, we're going to look at you. We're going to point the finger. I doubt it was Chris Ballard's idea. I mean, he signed off on it, but I bet you who was preaching for Carson Wentz?
Well, no, Frank Wright said it himself in a press conference. I stuck my neck out for this guy. He said it twice. Yeah. So I agree. This could be the fracture, like the start of the fracture in Frank Wright in Indianapolis. It really could just be this one thing. I hope not, because I think Frank Wright's a pretty good coach. They went 9-8. They're not a bad team, but there's a lot of talent on this team, so 9-8's a little underwhelming.
I mean, I looked stupid. I called them a Super Bowl contender.
We both did. There was like 5 weeks where they got hot.
Yeah.
I want them to start the year off good for a change. I don't want them to start 1-4 and then fucking figure it out. I want them to be good the start of the year to the end. So they're a good team one. Like if they can get the right guy quarterback, if that's Carson Wentz, if that's Jimmy G, Russell Wilson, any of the top guys we mentioned, I feel like we sound like broken records on because all the quarterback teams we've just been linked to everybody.
Well, it's part of it is because the draft from a quarterback standpoint sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But
I think we hit every team unless you have something else for the Colts.
No, I think that's it, man. I want to say that's it.
16 down, 16 to go.
16 down, 16 to go. So, guys, this is the AFC edition. You guys are probably going to see this a little bit late as far as the full podcast goes, but me and Max wanted to try out something different. By the time you guys are seeing this, clips have gradually just came out, on whatever team we're talking about. All right, so we wanted to see how that goes and how you guys respond to that. Hey, and if you guys like it that way and you guys like the shorter content, and then for the people who want the full content, you wind up getting it a little bit late, but we're just going with whatever our audience likes, bro. Whatever hits better. So we'll see how that goes, man.
Audience, tell us that shit you do like. Don't tell us that shit you don't like. All right, shout out to Chief Keef right there. So whatever your name is now. Let us know what they like. We'll do more of what they like.
Yeah, exactly. And what you guys do like is subscribing if you guys are new and hitting that like button. And if you guys already subscribed, what do we want them to do, Max?
We want them to unsubscribe, resubscribe, tell a friend to subscribe, unsubscribe. We just want to grow, dog. I'm back. One's back. AFC down, NFC to go on. Let's go.
Let's go. We'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.